أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يسألونك عن الأنفال قل الأنفال لله والرسول فاتقوا الله وأصلحوا ذات بينكم وأطيعوا الله ورسوله إن كنتم مؤمنين إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم وإذا تليت عليهم آياته زادتهم إيمانا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون الذين يقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون أولئك هم المؤمنون حقا لهم درجات عند ربهم ومغفرة ورزق كريم. Today we will discuss about Surah Anfal. This is a very important surah. Of course, all the surahs are important. But this is important in the sense and very relevant for us. You know, the fault lines among the Muslims lies in many places. One of them is we are the only people who do amal first and ilm we acquire later, or we don't acquire at all. Whereas in Islam, ilm is first. Remember that statement. Ilm is first, amal later. But once we have got religiosity, we straight away start doing the amal. What about the ilm? Because we do not have the full understanding of Islam. But we think we know it anyway, because I have heard from uncle, I have heard in the masjid from a Moli Sahib, Imam Sahib, or whatever. The chap has got no clue about Quran, has never read it. If he has read it, he has never understood it. He has never sat down with the scholars that he could get the education or learning from the scholars. He never had time. But nevertheless, he thinks that he knows it. And therefore, he starts practicing. He puts the cap, comes to the masjid, and he does certain things, few rituals, and that's it. He thinks that he knows Islam. And this is the biggest irony. Now, you would understand what background I'm talking to. We look at Surah Anfal. Anfal is the plural of nafil. Nafil means extra. So take for example, I hired a person to do the rear garden. So he works whole day and my deal is I will give you £50 at the end. Now when I go in the evening and see my rear garden, I say, well, he's done much better job than what I had asked him for. So the deal was to take away the weeds and this, that and the other. But he has done even better job. That extra job which he has done, that is nafil from him. And the deal was to give £50. But I'm so happy that he has done a better job. I give him £60. That £10 extra which I gave is nafil. Same is true for the nafil prayer. When we pray, there is a first prayers. 2 rak'ah in the morning, 4 rak'ah in Zuhur, 4 rak'ah in Asr, 3 rak'ah in Maghrib, 4 rak'ah in Asha. You will be asked about this, don't forget. This is obligatory, must. You would be asked. We all will be asked. We will not be asked about Sunnah now and the others. Why do we do it then? We do it because none of our obligatory prayers are in shape. Sometimes we get distracted, our mind is somewhere else. Sometimes we rush around and things like that. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He will take accountability of the obligatory and the first prayer, He will find gaps. And then Allah will ask the angels, does he have anything else? So the angels will say, yeah, he's got some nafil as well. So all those nafils will be filling the gaps to make our fard prayer acceptable. So similarly here, Anfal means the spoils of war. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give, look, a believer when he fights, when there is a battle or a war, he has got only one agenda. To establish Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala name, to make Allah name higher. That's all. So, he is expecting reward in the life hereafter. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the battle, whatever the spoils of war one gets, that's a nafil. That's extra. That's not the real intention of a believer is. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they ask you about the spoils of war. قُلِ الْأَنْفَالُ لِلَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. Say that the spoils of war are for Allah and His Prophet. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهِ. Therefore fear Allah. وَأَصْلِحُوا ذَاتَ بَيْنَكُمْ. And mend your ways among yourselves. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ. And obey Allah. وَرَسُولَهُ. And His Prophet, His Messenger. إِن كُنتُم مُؤْمِنِينَ. If you are a believer. Now, you see, this is the first time it is happening now. Because this Surah Anfal, remember, it was revealed immediately after the Battle of Badr. And this is a beautiful analysis, objective analysis as to what Muslims did good and what Muslims did wrong. This is called accountability. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking the accountability of the Muslims because Allah knows that in future there will be other wars. So whatever weaknesses they had, they must rectify and correct so that in the next war which is going to happen, bound to, then they should not repeat the same weaknesses. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking accountability of the Battle of Badr and then telling them where they have done well and where they have committed mistakes. Now see, this is the first war, Badr, because till Rasulullah ﷺ was there in Makkah, 13 years, there was no war, isn't it? And now Rasulullah ﷺ in Medina, this is the second Hijri, first war, Battle of Badr. But the trouble was, this war was so important that it was going to be decisive. Either no Islam till the Qiyamah, or Islam would be there till Qiyamah, either way. Islam was going to remain or going to be annihilated, finished, ruined, perished. So this war was so important and so decisive. And that's the reason, even though bigger war has happened, but Battle of Badr is Battle of Badr. Always comes first. Because that was decisive whether it was Islam and the Muslims are going to stay. Now this is the first time it is going to happen. You remember we talked about that the Battle of Uhud was the first time that 70 martyrs. So therefore what to do with the orphans? So many orphans. What to do with the widows? So many widows. 70 Muslims were martyred in Battle of Uhud. A year later, which is going to happen. Similarly, this Battle of Badr, the war spoils of war or war booty, till that time, till the Battle of Badr happened, Muslims did not know. They knew what used to happen in the past. So whatever the spoils of war or the war booty used to be, whoever could lay his hand on, that is his. In the battlefield, whoever could lay his hand on the sword, on shield or whatever, thinks it is his. Or the usurpers, those days the brute tyrant kings, they used to usurp all and give little bit to others. And that's the reason that theft was very rampant in the spoils of war. Whoever just simply hide it. If the king knows, if the leader knows, he will take it, seize it. So they used to hide. So therefore theft, and theft morally abomination, morally wrong thing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear, spoils of war and booty, this is for lillah wa rasulih. This is for Allah and His. So everything, whatever gets on the battlefield in front of Prophet ﷺ. After that, the Quran carries on later on that 1/5 will be for Allah, His Prophet and the blood relatives which Rasulullah ﷺ will distribute, and for the orphans and for the needy. The 4/5 will be divided among the people who were on the battle and were involved in the among the soldiers, you could say. So this surah is giving the rules of battle and war. That's the reason we say, oh, Islam is a code of conduct. Islam is where. What do we mean by code of conduct? It is giving you one by one the code of conduct even there on the battlefield, even during the war. And it carries on. I do not have time to go into detail. إنما المؤمنون الذين ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم. Certainly, innama, when the word is used, not only it means indeed. Innama, when the word is used, that means this is the only truth. إنما المؤمنون الذين إذا ذكر الله. Certainly the believers with certitude, believe with certitude. Certainly the believers, when they are reminded of Allah, wajalat qulubuhum, their heart palpitates. Palpitation, they start getting palpitation. Their heart becomes fearful. Their heart becomes fast and racing when Allah's name is taken. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ayat or revelations, this Quran is recited unto them, زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. Their iman increases. Does it happen to us? When Quran is recited? No, it doesn't. My heart does not palpitate. My heart is not filled with fear. Nothing happens to my heart. My heart does not race. Very blunt. Imam Sahib recites, I listen, finish. So iman does not increase. وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا. When the ayah of the Quran is recited into them, iman increases. My iman does not increase. My heart does not race. So are we really Muslim? Yeah, of course. We claim ourselves to be Muslim. Only Allah knows. Because the quality of a believer, thus the beauty of reading Quran. It tells us, and I say, in this mirror my picture is no good. Does it make sense? My picture does not come out that my heart races fast or my iman increases. That's the reason we should read Quran. Because reading some books here, some books there, about Sahaba, they did this, they did that, they spent all their money, they gave in the way of Allah. Of course, it is a stimulant. It works, it encourages us. But here, it gives us the quality of a believer. And it appears that, at least I do not know about you people, but my heart doesn't. And you know the main reason? Apart from other things, the main reason is we do not know what Imam Sahib is reciting. Quran says, وَالَّذِينَ ذَكَّرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ لَمْ يَخِرُّوا عَلَيْهَا سُمًّا وَعُمْيَانًا. When the Allah name and the revelation, this revelation, if is recited unto them, they do not fall over it as blind and deaf person. Not I'm absolutely translating word by word from Surah Furqan. So when the Quran is recited unto them, they do not fall over it as a blind and a deaf person. We do. I've got no clue what is recited. So if not I am blind and deaf, so what I am. So does it get anywhere, anywhere in equation, in planning? It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense. We pray. So where do you start praying, man? I mean, how much do you know about the prayer? No, not much. But the Quran has been revealed, and this Quran is going to be plea for us or plea against us. This Quran is going to be plea, hujjah, for us or against us. But this Quran is nice to keep it on the highest shelf so that my hands do not reach. It is always as a sign of reverence. Man, Quran should be on the right, on the left, on the top, so that I could put my hand any time. When Allama Iqbal alayhi rahmah, when he used to feel like that now the poetry is coming onto his head, because he used to feel like that. And then he immediately asked his servant, go and get the Quran quickly. So that he could go through, and then after that he will transform into the form of poetry. But Quran's, what sort of a relationship we have? الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ, those who are steadfast in prayer. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يَنْفِقُونَ, and out of whatever we have given they spend. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا, now they are the true believers. The people who are steadfast in their prayer, they perform the prayers appropriately as it should be. They spend in the way of Allah what Allah has given. They trust in Allah. Their iman increases when the ayah is recited unto them. They get racing heart. These are the qualities of a believer in one place here. There are many qualities of others. But I do not know what are the qualities of believer, but why not? Quran is there. So what is Quran for? So we should try to understand it. So, and then it talks about what happened exactly, because I haven't got time to go into detail. In Medina, Rasulullah SAW got the news that a business caravan of Makkah is coming from Syria, remember? From north. And when they were passing by near the area of Medina, they got scared, because it is supposed to be 50,000 gold coin worth of business caravan, big caravan. So they got scared, and Abu Sufyan was their leader. Abu Sufyan had sent the person to Makkah to bring the people for security of this caravan, business caravan. And when the man went, he's got full detailed description, they left Makkah and they started attacking Rasulullah SAW. Not only safeguarding the business caravan, attacking Rasulullah SAW, that forever, let us sort it out, sort this problem. So now Rasulullah SAW had two. One is attacking the business caravan he could have attacked, and the second is he could have taken on by the bull's horn these Meccan soldiers, 1,000. He asked, Rasulullah SAW asked the Sahaba, some of them say, this way. This way, easy catch, no fight. They don't have much of arm ammunition. They're only 60-70 people, 50,000 gold coin worth. Easy. Let us go this way. But Rasulullah SAW, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted the other way. He wanted that this time the haqq, lihuqq al-haqq, wal batil batilan. Now this time if the haqq has to stay, haqq has to stay, and the batil has to perish, So let us lada de mamole ko shahbaz se. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just wanted that this time they should fight each other rather than that. But the Muslims wanted the other way, is a human nature. It was gone full details, and at the end Rasulullah SAW prevailed. So this way, this is the Allah hukum. And then they went, but the Muslims who wanted to fight, that was to have more spoils of war and booty. They felt as if they are dragging towards the death sentence. They didn't want to go and fight there. What about us? We are talking about the others. But what about us? Are we willing to give our life, our wealth? Are we willing to sacrifice? No. Easy going it should be. But these people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not only does not like or hates, these people are not good. They are forced. Quran uses this word as if they are drawn towards the death. They have been pulled towards the death. Yusaqoon al-maut. They खींचे चले जा रहे हैं मौत की तरफ. But we never think about it. Anyway. وَأَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and obey Allah and His Prophet. وَلَا تَنَازَعُوا, do not get into quarrel or dispute among yourself. فَتَفْشَلُوا, then you will lose heart. وَتَذْهَبَ رِيحُكُمْ, and your wind, your spirit will disappear. وَاصْبِرُوا, and be patient. إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. If we ask ourselves question, isn't it true that we do not follow Allah, we do not follow Prophet, and we have got dispute among Muslims. We are Shia, Sunni, Bralvi, Deobandi, Jamaat Islami, Tablighi, Ahle Hadith, God knows better how many sects. And now we have come to a level, when I visit my country, is written outside, Ye Ahle Hadith ki masjid hai. Quran says, Al-Masajidu Lillah. You know, I have built mosque there, so I have put the name Masjid al-Ittihad, because my heart cries when I see ye Ahle Hadith ki masjid, ye Ahle Sunnat wal Jamaat ki masjid. Aji Allah. The Quran says Al-Masajidu Lillah. Masajid is only for Allah. What is this going on? I've never seen this before. This is over the last 10-20 years. So anyway, we are quarreling at every level, and the others are deciding about our fate, that Muslims have to go, leave this place. Number, I should be ashamed of telling you, because I come from there. Only 250 to 300 million Muslims. Why? Because we are not following Allah, we are not following His Prophet, because we are weak and we are scared of dying. Now this ayah, I would ask you to hear carefully. I'm going to make a very provocative statement. And you should think, don't just simply say, oh, no, I don't like it. Because look, it's very simple. If I tell you, do these many times Allahu Akbar, these many times Alhamdulillah, these many times, and if you do this, recite this ayah 20 times, risk will rain from the top and risk will boil from the underground, and you will get this, that and the other. You will all like it. Who likes to hear all this tough statement? That whether we are really Muslim, we should ask ourselves question. No one likes to hear. Look here now. وَإِدُّ لَهُمْ, prepare yourself, مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ, with the best of your capability. जितनी सलाहियत है, तैयारी कर लो. For what? مِنْ قُوَّةٍ, to acquire power. وَمِنْ رَبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ, and to acquire the branded horses or cavalry. Why? لَتَرْهَبُونَ بَهِ, so that you could scare with them عَدُوُّ, the enemies of Allah, وَعَدُوَّكُمْ, and enemies and your enemies, وَآخَرِينَ مِن دُونِهِمْ, and other than those as well. لَا تَعْلَمُونَهُمْ, you do not know them, who are your enemies. Allah يَعْلَمُهُمْ, Allah knows who are your enemies, and so on. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us to acquire power and to acquire the branded horse, the fast running steed on the battlefield, because they used to be decisive on the battlefield, isn't it? With the best of your capability. Ask yourself question. Muslims, what is the quwwah today? You're all educated class. What is the quwwah today? Education. Education is power. There is no question about it, man. There is no question. Look, in the past, we used to have our poets, मोमिन है तो बेतेग भी लड़ता है सिपाही, काफिर है तो शमशीर पे करता है भरोसा. A non-believer believes in the sword, but a believer, even without a sword, he fights. Gone. I tell you an example, you understand it very well. This you must understand. Hassan bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu is the Shah Islam. Battle of Uhud, every person is precious. 300 people Abdullah bin Ubay took away between Medina and Uhud mountains. In between, he took 300 people, 1/3 gone. He took it, no, you didn't accept my words, and so on. Now, this Hassan bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu was made in charge of the woman. Where? In Medina. So in Medina, in a large house, big house, all the women from Medina, so that the Bani Israel people do not attack them, they are there. And on the gate, Hassan bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu was asked to sit. Now, Phupi, auntie of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Safiya radhiyallahu anha, she was doing surveillance from inside the boundary wall, and she saw a Bani Israel. He is moving around that building at all. Wow, he's got some agenda. She went and told Hassan bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu that, don't you see this man? Go on, finish him up. If I would have been that worth, I will be here. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will put me in charge of the woman in Medina. I would be in the battlefield in Uhud. What do I have got to do with it? Nothing. Leave him alone. Ya Allah. Safiya radhiyallahu anha, I do not know how much you know her, very brave and powerful. She took a sort of a small tree or big herb, whatever you could call. She took it from her, and when was on the watch out, when on the outside boundary wall, she hit from inside and the man gone. Now she came and told again Hassan bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu that at least go and take whatever possession he has got, sword, shield, something in the pocket, go and bring. He told, I don't need those things. They are not worth me anyway. He is still sitting there. Who? Hassan bin Sabit radhiyallahu anhu. You know why? Everyone could not be Everyone could not be a warrior on the battlefield. You needed to have a heart. You needed to have that bravery, that courage, that guts, that the head is going off and then you could withstand it. The blood is flowing. The blood is like a spearing coming from the body. The hands cut off. The body parts mutilated. So everyone did not have that courage in the battlefield, so they could not fight in the battlefield. Does it make sense? But the believer, except for the believer has got a big heart, courageous. This life is only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will go and give my life. So that's the reason Quran says, "Kam min fi'atin ghalabat fi'atan kathiratan." How often it has happened that a small band of people has won over the larger group of people? Quran says, yeah, because Muslims or believers are supposed to be big-hearted, not coward. And that was true, the poetry which I told. A believer fights even without sword. That's true. And Quran says also, "Kam min fi'atin ghalabat fi'atan kathiratan." How many times it has happened that a small band of people has won over the large people? Our history is full of it. Is it full now? No. Why not? We have become coward, of course we have. But what is the other reason? Because now the most coward person in a small house, in a small room, he has got a computer, he plays like this. One town, gone, out of existence. Yes or no? I don't want to go into too much of a detail, but that's truth. That a most coward person. Why? The reason he is not seeing with his own eyes that bloodshed, that mutilation. What? The havoc and the butchery he is creating thousands of miles away, he is not seeing with his eyes. Just down, absolutely into vapor, became a vapor. He is not seeing what is happening there. How the body parts are absolutely torn into pieces. He is not seeing. So a coward person can do it. So what it is called? Power, man. Power. Acquire power. Power. Quran says so. Power. Acquire power with the best of your capability, might. Why is it then that this does not come from this place? Everywhere. If you try to acquire power, is it wrong? I have just told you English translation. If you want, I could tell you in Urdu translation too. So why we are shy to acquire power, to acquire that might? We should take it in our hands. But then it becomes suddenly a worldly matter. Worldly matter, dunya ka hai. Because the Muslims who acquired the education, they prove themselves bad. This is also some truth. But the other truth is our religious leadership has failed. There is no question about it. They have not emphasized. Quran says, "Aiddu lahum masatatum min quwwatin wa min ribatil khayl liturhibuna bihi aduwwullah wa aduwwakum." Acquire with the best of your capability, the might, the power, and the fast running steed. Today, what is the fast running steed? I don't want to say too many things in words. You know it, what it means. The Quran says to acquire it, and we are not only shy of it, we are denying it. And denying it now for... So you should, when we read Quran, then we realize, look, do you see, and I would finish here, do you see every religious scholar having this in his pocket? Every religious scholar will have this in his pocket. Is he oblivious or unaware what this chap is doing in every household among the Muslims? Forget about others. This is creating a hell. Our children, what they are watching in the night or out of sight, we have got no clue. It is changing the mind and the heart and the brain of the Muslim young teenagers, creating a havoc. But every religious scholar, mashallah, has got it. With his wife and with his children, he will have FaceTime and he will talk, he will enjoy it. But there is a big fitna attached with it, man. So why don't Why didn't they say that we should not have it? Similarly, if there is a fitna with modern education, and instead of completely denying the power and the strength, just like you are using it, it's all question of risk-benefit ratio. The doctors might understand risk-benefit ratio, because the risk-benefit ratio for everything, what is the risk, what is the benefit, and that's how a doctor decides whether it is good for the patient or not. Do you know who has taught it? You will shock because you don't read it. Quran has taught the risk-benefit ratio. When it talks about alcohol, then it says, Ismuhuma akbar min nafehima. The harmful effect is more than the beneficial effect. That's the reason alcohol is no good. It's risk-benefit ratio. But we don't read Quran like that. We read just like a blind and the deaf person. However, we are going to get it. Doesn't make sense. So therefore, we should try to acquire power. Look, the way I talk. This is called communication skill. One part of the communication skill from this tongue. That's all used to be before. Communication skill with the tongue. But now you have got thousands and thousands, varieties of means of communication, from internet to different things, whatever you could call. Yes, and Muslims should do the mastery over it. Mastery over it. Why we are not mastering? Why someone else is mastering it? I mean, if we master of it, then we could take our message with all those communication skill to others. Yes or no? If we are poor in communication skill, from the tongue to the internet to the communication means, then we will not be able to take the message effectively. While Musa a.s. was given the prophethood, he tried to excuse. And then he said, Akhi Harun, huwa afsahu minni lisanan. He is better in communication skill by tongue. Who said? These are words of Quran. Musa a.s., when he was given the prophethood, is trying to excuse. Oh, my brother, he has got a better communication skill by tongue. So, towards him, Subhanallah. And every time our Islamic scholars or sheikh, when they start any speech, always you hear these words, وَحْلُلْ عُقْدَةً مِّن لِسَانِي يَفْقَهُ قَوْلِي. What is that for? So that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can open the knots of the tongue, Zuban ki gira khol de, aur log achhi se samajh sake. So therefore, communication skill, again, is a power, is a might. So our children, if they do not study well, economically they will be shattered, financially downtrodden. And you know what happens? Then few people will stand up. They will remain good Muslim, but the others will fizzle out. Others will fizzle out because they need money. I was invited, I will finish here. I was invited in a place, and there they fixed up Dars al-Quran, and there were a lot of doctors there. After the Dars, I talked to them about the Muslims in a town near Birmingham. And then I talked, what is the educational state and the religious state. I was told there is a purpose-built beautiful mosque. And then I was also told that Muslims, they are a lot involved in drugs. Drugs? Well, yes. And we don't need to go into detail, but you would understand. If the boy is 18-year-old, he sees with his eyes, that young boy is driving BMW, Mercedes and whatnot. And the way he lives. But he has not studied well. His children, his parents have never emphasized that. He is just mediocre, he was floating somehow. So now when he sees that with his eyes, he goes and talks to him. How did you get this? I said, well, be my group member. And that's how gradually they get sucked in. The people who are senior sitting here, they will attest to and confirm what I am telling, that it all starts with a lot of other reasons. One reason is not only just finances, but that is also one of the reasons. Then you become, somehow you get the money, and my saliva from the tongue is going dropping down, that I should get money. These things are not worth telling. That okay, I will not get in. Oh man, you will not. But your 4 or 5 or 6 or 3 or 2 children, they will. Don't talk about yourself. Does it make sense? So I think we have to remember that if the Muslims have to improve, they have to improve as first faith. Number 2, rasikhul ilm, deep root education in Quran. There is no respite. We are not mediocres. We are achievers. Every Muslim is an achiever, mashallah. We are like any other. Who is fasting for 1 month, morning till evening? Others? No, no one. We are achievers, mashallah. But we are committing some mistakes somewhere. We have to rectify them. If we rectify them, we will be in a different shape, different level completely. No one comes anywhere close to us, mashallah, come close to the Muslim community. We have got faults. No other place where you will find that they are doing this job which I am doing here. Let us go in any church. The Christians talking about Christianity and the Jews talking about Judaism. No, Muslims are the only one. We are taking our accountability. Where we have gone wrong. What are our weaknesses? How to rectify it? How to mend our ways? So let us, first thing for today, we should really love Quran. And that love Quran which we do by kissing and by touching our forehead, that's not love. That's not love. If that's what I do to my son, I give him kiss on this cheek, kiss him on the other cheek, kiss on his forehead, and everyone thinks that he loves his son. But I do not give him food, I do not feed him, do not clothe him, I do not look after his education, do not give him shelter, then everyone will say he is a fraud. He's just giving kisses and hugging to his child, but he does not look after his, where he is supposed to as a father. Same is true for us, that what we do is we kiss, we put it to the forehead, we put very, very high. This is not aqidah, this is not reverence. The real reverence comes when it is close to our heart. When we read it, try to understand it, we show distress. I do not know what it is in. I go to a sheikh, I try to read translation. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. This Ramadan we should press. Make sure that we have got in the planning who do not understand it, that they would read in any translation that they could trust, they could rely on, but they will try to read it. It's not difficult. It's very simple, believe me. Mainly it has been made difficult by our religious leadership. How come this Quran will be difficult to understand? Then it is for religious scholar, not for me. I've got nothing to do with it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent for everyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is challenging. أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ الْقُرْآنَ. Don't you think and ponder over Quran? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling for the people of their scholars? No, for everyone, even for the non-believer of the Makkah. So it's very easy to understand. There will be few points here, there, which will require a specialist. Go to our scholar. We have got enough scholars. You could find it out. ربنا إننا آمنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وقنا عذاب النار ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما اللهم تقبل منا صيامنا وقيامنا وركوعنا وسجودنا وصدقاتنا يا رب العالمين رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. Oh Allah, forgive us, forgive our sins, show mercy on us. Oh Allah, extricate our necks from Jahannam. Bless the blessings of Ramadan, O Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala khair khalqi Muhammad wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.